Nerds and geeks, you already know what it is. It's Friday. So, the legendary Friday nights of the Nerd-O-Roundtable are here. Episode 990. The countdown is on to episode 1000. Big things are a-poppin'. We are going to experience what Brian has dubbed Scorched Earth with his review of Obi-Wan. But first, it has been threatened, it has been promised, and it has been delivered what everyone has been waiting for from the boys, Herogasm. My question is, Anthony from Two Cubicles Down, Ryan McBain's in the building, Thomas Talking Cunningham, the one and only Mo Kelly, Dr. Liz from the Freeway I see is in the building as well. Anthony, did Herogasm deliver?
No. My expectations were a little bit higher, but I was not disappointed. Just higher expectations, but I still had a great laugh, hilarious story. All the acting was great. Fight scene was hilarious. The octopus was amazing in it. It was just freaking hilarious. Like, could not stop laughing. I think my expectation was higher than what we saw.
Anthony, did you want it to be more vulgar, more debauchery, more nudity? What was it you're looking for?
I wanted more debauchery. I just wanted a full-on fuck fest for Herogasm. Just nobody holding back. Just complete debauchery going on. I wanted drugs, sex, and rock and roll for it.
You know, I was confused with Herogasm because for some reason or another, I thought, and I don't know why I thought this, but I thought Herogasm involved, like, it was a secret soiree involving the main players from.
That's what it was in the comics. Yeah.
So when I see that it's a bunch of B-listers,
C-listers,
C-listers, you got Supercock, and you got the twins, but outside of that, you don't really know anyone else there. So it's like, oh, okay, I guess
that was a departure, and I'm with Anthony. It wasn't comic book Herogasm, but in defense of the show, I think it should not have been, the episode should not have been called Herogasm. Mm-hmm. If it's called Herogasm, you're expecting that the focus is going to be on Herogasm. And I thought this might be like a respite episode. I thought they might take a minute. Soldier Boy isn't completely on deck. There's this diversion. Maybe they're going to go scout Homelander to see if Homelander is going to be caught in one of his little, peccadillos or whatever. Do some reconnaissance, show lots of gratuitous nudity, have some laughs, and then maybe bookend it with some important stuff. But it took us 20 minutes even for Herogasm to be said. And then to your point, Tawala, it was just, this crash at a Montpelier estate, as opposed to like a full-on island where Homelander is flying in, and everybody is like really getting their freak on, which is what Herogasm is supposed to be. There was plenty of freak, but the only recognizable faces, Blue Hawk was there, Termite was there,
A-Train.
A-Train was, I guess, kind of, he was kind of being a voyeur, I guess, or whatever. Yeah. And then the twins from Payback were there, but I mean, they weren't really there. And it was just a bunch of basically naked people with, there was one guy who had a flaming dick, and then one guy who had electrodes on his nipples, and then, of course, there was Python penis.
All that.
Yeah. Dr. Liz! Dr. Liz!
It was. What did he call himself?
I don't know what he called himself, but he was so conspicuously uncircumcised, it was disturbing.
God.
And so I just that part of it was funny, but I thought what they lacked in Herogasmness, I thought they made up for in other critical plot advancements, especially A-Train, especially Starlight, especially
the Congresswoman.
That was a very important scene. Huey. A very important development with Huey. And so it was on balance. What they showed of Herogasm would not have been as disappointing if they hadn't named the episode Herogasm.
Or I think if they would have put all the hype on it, because we can only show you this much in the teasers, and they really like it was going to be just, it was going to put Hugh Hefner or whoever to shame. It was going to be like Playboy Mansion Party, my ass. Herogasm is forever. Like in all the write-ups, they were like it was going to be, floating semen in the air. It was
floating. There was floating. There was floating. There was a deluge. You haven't seen that much jizz since the first Scary Movie.
They even had a disclaimer at the beginning of the episode, so I was like, "Oh man, this is gonna be hot."
Yeah.
And then it kind of like bait and switched us. But like, I still love the episode.
But the one takeaway from this episode, and to your point, Tom, is that the turns with the character development, like they really threw it all together. They're like, this shit is very, very real right now. And it's like they took the stakes to a whole nother level. I didn't really think they would. I think for once I felt like, wow, things are real now. There's actually some real stakes. Where Homelander, they brought it to his ass, and that fight was epic. The three-way fight between Butcher, and even Huey jumped in, Soldier Boy. Yeah. That was a badass fight, dude. That was one of the best superhero fights we've seen in a minute, where if you see folks really go into it, I mean, maybe Civil War, but shit, that fight was awesome.
No, it was Superman Zod from Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Except it was on the ground. It wasn't just punching in the air bullshit.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't have the budget for that, but it was real. And I loved how when he first heard that Soldier Boy was still alive, Homelander was shook.
Wait, Homelander fucking
he
Black
was
Noir
shook.
Black
Noir dipped the fuck out.
Deuces. Tracker out and was like, deuces, y'all, I'm out. That was dope. Even when Homelander was like, no, Noir wouldn't. He wouldn't leave. He's not scared.
He sure as fuck was.
Yeah.
Now, see, I think there's a difference here. I'm unencumbered by the comic book, so I can just watch it as it is. I knew the general storyline behind Herogasm, but it didn't need to align with the comic. I thought it was hilarious when Mother's Milk turned into Mother's Milk.
Milky Mother.
That was hilarious. And I would have hated to have been Laz Alonso filming that scene, because there are only so many times you could have done that.
I hope you made a lot of money off that scene. I'm just saying.
Goodness.
I know he was like, yeah, this is a one and done, folks.
One and done.
Last shot of the day, literally.
Oh my gosh.
I get the fact that that character is very, very upset. He's shook, OCD. But like him trying to fight Soldier Boy, I'm saying to myself, like, bruh, come on now.
Stop it, my dude.
He's trying to throw hands.
Even him trying to fight Butcher was to the point where I'm like, maybe he's lost his mind. Maybe he's just out of his fucking mind right now.
I think so. But I enjoyed it.
The turn for him was good. The how you brought him back and how you keeping him as the conscious of the show. Those things are dope. I actually enjoyed, A-Train kind of coming to terms with his self, and when he apologized to you, I actually felt, I was like, damn it, this sounds like a sincere apology, man. Like this
it was.
Yeah,
it
but
was
it's just like, it came out to television. Yeah, that shit was dope. His revenge on Blue Hawk, man.
Let's not forget how like Black Noir can like say nothing but say so much. Because when Homelander was like pouring his soul to him, like, yeah, man, I'm glad I can trust you. Blah blah blah. You're my guy. Black Noir was like, and then like he's like, yo, I'm gonna get the fuck up out of here.
It was hilarious.
Didn't even hesitate. Just
his arm. Waited until he got into the elevator. It was like, knife, arm, tracker, hold this, please. I'm out.
Go on.
Did anybody think for a moment, this kind of confused me with the female of the species and Frenchie were tagged up. I almost thought for a moment that she got her powers back.
I thought so too. The bullet.
I thought they were. Yeah, I thought they were trying to imply that she had her powers, but then, she had that whole speech where she says, "It's not the powers, it's
just me. I'm just
it was me."
Always been there. Yeah.
Well,
right.
She was strong. I mean, she seemed to be superhuman strong.
She did. Well, she punched a damn nail through that guy's whole chest plate.
Okay, and
that's
also,
not an easy thing.
Let's not forget that this show's not afraid to show like man on woman getting their ass beat fucking brutality. I was like,
that was
man,
crazy.
that's a little too much, man. You can stop.
And when he punched her wound,
yeah. I was like, dude, stop.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
stop
no, that's a
doing
lot.
That's too much,
his
bro.
Homeboy went and put like 10 in his back, hoping to put one through him into her.
Yeah.
Just a shame. Just all right, I'm just gonna get you through him.
Yeah, I could have dealt with
shy away from any of the gratuitous violence. I think a turning point, at least for me in this episode, they were really, really good with how they wove character development into this episode, which I was really surprised. I was like, wow, this episode for me was actually really, really rich in giving us that turn, and it was very clear where it was going. The end was shocking. The end, I did not think that the end was going like that. I was like, I'm intrigued. Like I don't know, it just seemed like there's only going to be like one more episode, because where do you go from this point with this show? Like everything is all bad right now. Everything is bad for everybody. Homelander knows what's up. Starlight, no, Annie January has turned. Brain Popper Senator knows what. Everything is out there on the table. Where do you go from here? There's no hiding anymore. Soldier Boy knows what's up with Butcher. Shit is about to be scorched earth for everybody. Where do you go after this episode? And again, like Mo, I don't know much about the comic book other than it exists and who created it, but where does this story go? Like, does something happen much more past this episode, or now are they totally just on their own story? Is it they're just like, we're past the comics now, we're into a television world, and
they left the comics a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like for instance, just as an aside, the airplane thing with Homelander and Maeve, that doesn't happen until like issue 15. It's like way later in the comic book than it was in the TV show. The comic book and the TV show barely have anything to do with one another at this point at all. But I will say, dost mine ears deceive me, or is Tawala a convert? You're sounding awfully effusive in your praise of this episode for someone who couldn't stand the boys last week and was player hater number one.
Hey, look, I don't like what I don't like, but when I see something that's dope, I'm not going to deny it.
You like
this episode was good, even though the Herogasm I could have done without it, because it was nowhere near what I thought. Like from all the hype, not from y'all, but just from every thread, every story, everything was wait till you get to hear it, and then I'm like, okay, all right, sure. If that's what Herogasm was supposed to be, great, sure.
I think the part for me that really pulled at my heartstrings was how.
Oh, come on.
Well,
no, seriously, I know where you're about to go.
No, I'm being totally serious.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, I'm being serious. It's how Mother's Milk hates Butcher so much. Like, he wants to like basically kill him.
Yeah.
And then
the story he's told.
And he's like wants to like pretty much throw his life away. And Butcher's like to Soldier Boy, oi, not him. Leave him alone.
Right.
Yeah.
Leave him alone.
I was like, oh shit.
That
was something.
That was deep.
Yeah.
That was deep.
Yeah. I definitely will give it props, and I'm excited to see what happens, because after that whole scene in the end, when Starlight gets on and goes live, I was literally looking at Tails like, no, don't do that. No, don't do that. Dude. You don't have to be a part of this right now. Right now, it's all Butcher in there.
Exactly.
You don't have to throw your life away. That's all I thought. I was like, you've just killed yourself. You signed your death warrant for you and everybody. Everyone's gonna die now. Wow.
No, I think Stan Edgar has to come back and play a role.
Absolutely.
That's what it is.
He has to be the unifying force, if you will. Homelander can't die at this point. I don't think Soldier Boy's up to the task, but I think Stan Edgar still has to come back in and sort of rein Homelander in, and then you have some semblance of normalcy.
Dude, like, he's basically some twisted version of Nick Fury. Basically, that's how I see him as.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because in this series, well, not in this series, but in this episode, when Soldier Boy confronts the TNT twins, who were super whack, and even when they couldn't get their powers up, that was hilarious. But when he confronts them and they say it was all Black Noir, and he's like, stop it. He doesn't do anything that Vought doesn't say, so he wouldn't even bind that, which, to your point, Tom, makes me think that it all does have to come back to Stan and him ultimately having to have everything to do with everything. My hope is that Stan has powers that we just haven't seen, and he's just the ultimate evil player behind the scenes.
Well, he's not black in the comics, and I don't think he's ever revealed. It's been a while since I've read them, but I don't believe he has ever.
Yeah, in the comics, he's a clone of Homelander.
No, Black Noir is a clone of Homelander, not Stan
Black
Edgar.
Noir.
Black Noir is totally different in the TV show. No, he is the evil, even more depraved clone of Homelander. Mm-hmm. And Butcher was actually having a quasi sadomasochistic relationship, I think, with the person who Elizabeth Shue played in the first season before she was killed. Mm-hmm. But it's just a very different. I appreciate the show more now that I've been able to compare it to the comic book, because Garth Ennis was the main creative force behind the comic book. So it's very, 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 very unapologetically twisted. And in the same way that the new Nick Fury was modeled after Sam Jackson, Huey was modeled after old boy from Shaun of the Dead.
Simon Pegg.
Right. Yes, Pegg. Simon Pegg, yeah. Yeah, that's who Huey was modeled after.
That's who they originally wanted to get to play Huey, was Simon Pegg. But he's too old, I think. He's too old, so that's why he plays his father in it.
Right.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. And also Simon and Butcher get powers like much earlier in the cycle, and it's a very, 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 very different thing. But they took some very strong elements and did
here. Right. Does Butcher ever get a permanent? Do they ever get some way that they obtain permanent powers, or is it always going to be them shooting up and getting temporary powers?
Well, in the comic books, it wasn't temporary. It turned. Huey got powers like fairly quickly, as I recall. Because they were trying. Something happens, and of course, A-Train is white as well. There weren't any black supers in the 7. But Huey and Butcher end up getting powers, mostly just strength, not like laser vision or anything like that. But there's a sequence where Huey definitely punches the shit out of somebody's chest and kills them with his powers. So it's impossible to say what they're doing with the TV show, because the TV show is so far gone. It's its own thing now, in the way that the MCU is totally divorced from the comic books. So it's impossible to say where they're going to go. But it's renewed for a season 4, right?
Yes.
Right. So Homelander can't die. So
the story, to me, a story that it's right along with it. Invincible is getting a live action treatment. So now watching this show, you can kind of see how Invincible is going to look as a live action film on Amazon Prime, right?
Because as long as it's better than Jupiter's Legacy.
Yeah,
it's got to be.
It's
got to be. Yes. But the animated Invincible is insane. Like, for everything that's happening in this, it's
I don't know
the same level in Invincible.
I don't know that you can show a Viltrumite's powers effectively in live action. It's because even though Homelander is kind of in the same sphere, just the speed that he kills motherfuckers and everything that he does, I don't know. Some things are better in the medium in which they were designed, and I think Invincible is an amazing show as an animated show. I mean, I'll watch it, of course. But I just don't know that it's going to be able to beat what Invincible is right now. Because Invincible, with all the different characters and all the different powers they have and all that other stuff, and you can't strip. I wouldn't want them to strip down and sacrifice Invincible.
That's why I would have
to make a live action version that just necessarily wouldn't be as fully featured.
Dr. Liz, I'm curious. Did you venture into the Herogasm? Because we've heard from the fellas. You did not.
No surprise there.
Yeah, it's not for you. It's not for you, Doc. It is not prescribed.
I stopped watching season 1 mid-season. I think I got to episode 4, and I said, this this is a wrap.
And the guy opens the door and he has a superhuman snake-like cock, and that's not what you need to see.
It's a love sausage. Love sausage.
I just think it's so funny that you guys are talking about this, and y'all got upset with me when I started talking about Tommy and.
That shit was hilarious too.
Sebastian. Yes, Tommy had the talking penis.
Yeah, you talking about Tommy and Pam?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That was a way back. You got to clarify because
my
son is Tommy and I'm Tommy, and I was like, "Where's she going with this?"
I'm only laughing at it because I've already seen the original. So what's the point? I mean, just saying.
How's it going?
True story.
True story. Yeah. Okay, Ryan. I know. I have been damn near for all day Wednesday, all day Thursday. All I've heard is back and forth on the quality of the finale of Obi-Wan. You know, I've heard it hated, I've heard it loved. For me personally, questions, it answered all the questions. It passed the baton seamlessly to the original trilogy, even though, you know, the age disparity or the look of the character for Obi-Wan, we were blessed with quite possibly the best, most epic lightsaber battle in the history of fucking kyber crystals.
Calm down.
Like, seriously.
Calm down.
Now, that notwithstanding, I am beyond curious to hear this scorched earth review of Obi-Wan for you. What did Obi-Wan do wrong for you?
Okay, so first, let's say something positive. They did not ruin the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Okay, that's something positive. We got that out of the way, folks. All right. Now, that being said, so a lot of people that really love this episode, the finale, and the show in general, aren't really diehard Star Wars fans. They're just fringe fans because they don't really understand the lore. One of my biggest gripes, and this is going to come back to you, Twala, is that this show, and mainly the season finale, makes things in the original trilogy not make sense. Now, remember when I said that when Obi-Wan, quote unquote, dies in A New Hope, Leia does not give a fuck. And you defended it wholeheartedly. If you go back and watch this show, the connection between Leia and Obi-Wan, Leia wouldn't be like, oh, Obi-Wan's dead? Oh, well, fuck him, let's move on. And for the record, she did see Obi-Wan die. If you go back and watch A New Hope, not only did she see it, Han Solo saw it. Because they're both saying, we gotta get out of here. Leia's saying, Luke, it's too late.
Luke, we gotta go.
Late.
Yeah.
She saw it. So you see the connection between Obi-Wan and Leia. I'm sorry, but Leia would have been devastated from the death of Obi-Wan Kenobi. See, French fans don't understand that, which is fine.
Now, okay, before you move on to the next point, because you brought my name into it, what I said is the only way that makes sense if they have to somehow erase her mind. That was a failure on their part for him saying, hey, Leia, you got to keep our relationship a secret. It's just between you and Uncle Sid. Don't tell no one that you know me or things are going to go bad. For them to explain away why she was so cavalier or not knowing about who he is in the future, as simple as him trying to come down to Alderaan and say, here's your robot. You got to forget you ever knew me, but I'll be around watching you from a distance. That's bad writing.
Okay. Back to your point. Erasing her memory or getting to her brain is not going to work for one reason. If you go back to New Hope, when they're trying to find out the location of the base, Vader even says to Tarkin, her resistance to the mind probe, whatever, is good or whatever. She's too force sensitive for that shit to happen. So like I said, they reconned a lot of shit. My other issue, yes, the fight between Obi-Wan and Vader was great and all, but Obi-Wan beating Vader one-on-one, that's some bullshit without any help. Again, beat him twice. And Mo and I were talking about this. Motherfucker, you had 2 times to end this shit. You could have killed Vader on Mustafar. You didn't. Okay, whatever. You were emotional. You thought he was gonna die, and then you get him again, and you just walk away. I'm like, dude, kill this motherfucker right now. You could have ended the whole thing again. That makes no sense. And don't give me this.
And he wasn't a Jedi. To your point, he wasn't a Jedi, so he had no code to uphold.
Oh, and one thing, if I could jump in, and remember, in A New Hope, as Ryan was saying, it is Obi-Wan who says, "I must face Vader alone." Well, you had 9 years to train Luke. You chose not to out of some bullshit agreement with Owen. And then you want to face Vader again when you could have offed his ass 9 years ago when you didn't look like Sir Alec Guinness and you could use the Force for real.
Okay.
Hold on, Tom. I'm sorry, brother. I got a lot of Mo. I'm like Clubber Lane in Rocky 3. I got a lot of Mo. I got a lot of Mo. Also, fuck Qui-Gon Jinn. Okay?
Yeah.
So, like,
fuck him.
The perfect time for him to show up for me was when Obi-Wan was almost buried alive. That's when you come in and inspire him, like, look, you can do this, blah, blah, blah. And don't give me this shit where, like, well, he's a Jedi, can't interfere. Motherfucker, Obi-Wan helped Luke destroy the Death Star. You can fucking give him inspiring words. At the end of the episode,
good point.
At the end of the episode, when Qui-Gon, when Obi-Wan is going back to wherever he's going back to, and Qui-Gon shows up, and Qui-Gon's like, "Oh, I was always here. I always heard you." Oh, really? Bitch. Thanks a lot, dick.
Bitch ass.
Fucking asshole. I would have been like, "Yo, man." Also, okay, I got so much to talk about. Also, I'd have been like, "Yo, man, I'm good. I don't need your help. I fucking saw this on my own. Fuck you, Qui-Gon. Go beat up some black dudes or something. You're racist."
And go find Reva. You know Reva's out in the desert somewhere. Okay, all right, go ahead.
No, if I'm Obi-Wan, I gotta say I beat Darth Maul twice. No thanks to you, Qui-Gon. I beat Darth Vader twice. No thanks to you, Qui-Gon. You can suck a dick.
Okay, I wouldn't go that far, but
this is not Jedi-gasm.
Qui-Gon even said that, like, he couldn't become a Force ghost. He couldn't do it. All of a sudden, he figures it out. Like, okay, because in the Clone Wars
not
show,
all of a sudden. That's been how many years? He died in episode 1, right?
Yeah, but in the Clone Wars show, I don't know if you watched it, Tom. When he's explaining to Yoda, yeah, I never finished. I couldn't do it. All of a sudden, he's now a Force ghost. There's some plot holes.
But in that point, Yoda told to him, "Don't worry, I will show you how." Remember that episode?
Yes. No.
He said, "I'll show you how."
Qui-Gon shows Obi-Wan tells
No.
Yoda that
Yoda showed Yoda in that episode that you're talking about in Clone Wars. Yoda said, "Come, I have much to show you." Because Yoda, I guess maybe he, that's the bitch assness of the whole Jedi Council and their ways, because they know shit's about to happen and they don't want to say something. They're whores for that. But he did tell me, he said, "You have much to learn, and I will show you in this, that, and the other how to commune with the elders of the Force."
I'll have to go back and watch. I'll have to go back and watch this.
Yeah,
watch that.
And then at the end of Revenge of the Sith, he sits down with Obi-Wan and says, "More training you have." Yes. Master Qui-Gon has returned from the netherworld.
But like, I was just really disappointed at how, like, they just threw Qui-Gon in there. I'm like, dude, like you could have had, because, like, I'm sorry, I'm very anti Obi-Wan beating Vader all by himself. That's some bullshit. That's just not gonna work for me. All right, I'm done. The show is not bad. But wait, the show's not bad.
So the slow speed chase didn't bother you? Because the
shit out of me.
A slow speed chase when Obi-Wan gets into the mini ship and just like, "Oh, look what happened!" Pew! And that's what I was like.
He knew Vader was going to follow him. He knows Vader so well. I mean, yeah, I guess you can fucking complain about that. But there's so many other shit that's so wrong about this show. It's not bad. I guess my main point about Obi-Wan, the series as a whole, is the show was not needed. You didn't need to put it out there. I'm just not very upset because they didn't ruin the character of Obi-Wan. That was my only concern. That was my only, like, I was like saying to myself, don't do this. They didn't do it. That's fine. But you made shit that doesn't make sense in the original trilogy. That's it.
Okay.
That's all I gotta say.
It's needed because they needed more material for Disney Plus.
It's needed to make money. That's pretty much about it.
Well, no, but okay. So let me just say, as a fan who has consumed all of the movies and the entire animated series, but has not invested in every other single series, right?
Yes.
My whole thing is that I am not looking to Star Wars for absolute continuity, because Star Wars is a complete fuck show. It's like the Gospels. It's 4. From the very beginning. Yeah. So I don't need everything to absolutely tie together. I do think that to the extent that they couldn't do a Darth Vader series for Disney Plus because they have now closed the Skywalker saga, I thought Kenobi was as good an on-ramp as you could probably get to get the battles that we saw. I said in the chat last week, maybe, this was the epic lightsaber battle between two OT characters that we were missing. We had seen Darth Vader as a CGI person at the end of Rogue One kicking all kinds of ass. We had seen animated Kenobi doing stuff in the Tartakovsky whatever series and stuff. We had seen him do cool stuff. We had seen Kenobi have a battle with Grievous. We had seen Kenobi have a battle with Anakin. We'd seen Kenobi have a battle with Sith Anakin. But we hadn't seen Kenobi have a real battle. He is Sith Anakin. He wasn't...
He's Vader.
Darth Vader is the suit. OT,
not true.
We were introduced. No. Shut the fuck up. You got your chance to say what the fuck you wanted to.
I'm saying no.
Darth Vader, then you've said no. You don't need to say it 6 more motherfucking times. When we were introduced to Darth Vader in the original trilogy, he was the black dude in the suit with James Earl Jones' voice. Fuck you. That's who Darth Vader was. When he made those shitty ass prequels and gave us Jake Lloyd help him and Hayden Christensen's punk ass, that was not, even though that character, the character who was named Anakin Skywalker and by the end was James Earl Jones's voice in the suit, that character's name previous to the Mustafar fight was Darth Vader. That was not Darth Vader. That was Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker who had been turned. Darth Vader, the Darth Vader that everybody waits for, the Darth Vader everybody wants, is black suit James Earl Jones. I am your father. That's what people call Darth Vader. I don't give a fuck about Anakin and all that other tauntaun bullshit. Fine. So this was a lightsaber battle between these two people. And I was excited about the first one where Vader lit them rocks on fire and dragged his ass into the barbecue. I thought that was cool. I did not expect, I did not imagine that what I was going to get was a full-on battle where Kenobi actually looked like he was succumbing to rage and was trying to beat back Darth Vader in the same way that Anakin had been shown to try to fight him in the flashback sequence. Exactly. Yeah. So to me, I was excited to see that. Now, yes, the relationship between Kenobi and Leia happened at a much more formative part of Leia's life, and he literally saved her ass like 2 or 3 times, and she looked to him like at least an uncle figure, if not a surrogate father figure. I was waiting and hoping that he did like a Superman Lois kiss or something and said, it is better for you to forget. I could have dealt with that, even though it didn't make sense. I could have dealt with it. I don't know how to reconcile the fact that she appeared as distant as she was, except that, she also seemed to be able to emotionally compartmentalize things. And when she says, you fought with my father for the Clone Wars, maybe that was her just being real, keeping the cards close to the vest, because she couldn't say, remember that time you saved me when I was a preternaturally, freakishly small kid, and we were chasing through the streets of that whole planet. I get it.
Freakishly small.
She is freakishly small. She looks like Aaliyah the Knife from goddamn Dune. The fuck? So
there's one thing you said that's wrong. She didn't need to say, you fought with my father in the Clone Wars, because they already had established their own rapport and could have said, I'm Leia Organa, and left.
No, I get it, but I don't know. What I'm saying is that I agree that they didn't do anything between their relationship for her to actually not know who he is. I'm just saying, I think maybe she was trying to be Leia, the protective spy, and say, the Empire knows that Kenobi fought with my dad in the Clone Wars. Maybe everybody in the Empire doesn't know that he protected my ass. I don't know. I didn't care about that. I cared about the nature of their relationship. I cared that I didn't like that little girl at the beginning of the series, that I ended up liking her by the end. That was important to me. It was not perfect. I could have definitely done without Qui-Gon. But aside from Ahsoka, I don't know who they would have thrown in there as like that last episode cameo.
Ahsoka would have been enough. That would have been correct.
Well, no, she would have been great, except she's getting her own thing, and so maybe they're going to develop a relationship in her own thing. I don't know. I can't call it. That was something to me that didn't destroy the fact that, to Ryan's point, they didn't destroy Kenobi's character. Ewan McGregor did a good job of maintaining the respect for the character. He did a good job. He was very physical. Hayden Christensen covered in black plastic is perfectly fine by me, especially if James Earl Jones is doing the voice. I don't mind. I think what they were trying to say by allowing Kenobi, a younger Kenobi who had a lot on the line, because remember, Darth Vader at that point, all Darth Vader wanted to do was kill Kenobi. Kenobi wanted to protect Luke and Leia. And I think by doing the specific callback that they did two callbacks to the OT. One where Anakin actually says, "I killed Anakin Skywalker,"
right.
which is what Obi-Wan says in A New Hope, and then he says, "Then my friend is truly dead," which is what Luke says in Return of the Jedi, talking to his dad. "My father is truly dead." So I thought what he was saying is, by making that choice, because he was almost killed, but he wasn't killed, because he held up the Force. He held up the rocks with the Force, which I actually thought was some bullshit, but whatever. He had to live. We knew he had to live. And we knew that Vader had to live. So you weren't going to be satisfied with a situation where Vader is killed in a goddamn Disney Plus show. So you got to reconcile the fact that he just made the choice because he still had some residual feelings, and or he was more concerned about making sure Leia was safe.
It's also a callback to Jedi Rebels
absolutely.
too, when Ahsoka fought Vader too. It's also a callback to that as well.
Yep. Yes. But there was one thing, they could have had it where Vader wins this encounter. They could have left it thematically with Obi-Wan under the rocks, and he somehow gets out, but doesn't get a chance to kill Vader.
Go again. Yeah.
That to me would have made more sense when they see each other in A New Hope, and Vader says, "You should not have come back."
Yeah, because I left you under those rocks to die. You should have died under there.
Don't disagree.
I totally forgot about this one scene when Tarkin is telling Vader, "What, your old master? Surely he's dead by now." And I'm saying to myself, "No, motherfucker, that was only 9 years ago." So no, he wouldn't be dead.
Now again, that is the purist in you. And at a certain point in time, you're either going to not watch these shows and stay a purist and just keep watching your DVDs or watching on Disney Plus, or you're going to move on and allow these shows to grow. This is still the best time ever to be a nerd watching television or film. They are still bending over backwards to give us content and say, "Hey, y'all, here's something else to like hopefully provide some fan service, also to wow the younger audience that's getting into it." We can't nitpick the shit out of it to the point where it's like,
well, they're never gonna get it right.
Yeah,
they aren't.
This is correct. And to Twala's point, and also back to like Mo's point about when we're talking about The Boys, I never read The Boys comic, so I'm going in. I'm not like enslaved by like what happened in the comics. I can't be a purist because I never read it.
Right.
And this, I can't. I don't think I'll ever truly enjoy something in this timeline right now because it's just I'm such a purist. That's on me.
Was there anything in Obi-Wan that was worse than midichlorians?
In the films. So yeah.
Anything worse than midichlorians?
Was there anything in Obi-Wan that was worse than the introduction of midichlorians into the universe? Or Jar Jar Binks and the Gungans?
I'll tell you something that came kind of close to me. Was when they go back and get Leia from like Vader's base, and they're trying to escape, and Obi-Wan has this big ass trench coat walking by all these guards, and no one notices anything. Like, what the fuck? What?
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
okay, yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, him hustling her out as a goddamn Austin Powers episode was pretty bad. But again,
to be fair,
there
there
are
are
thousands of troops and shit.
Well,
they're all stupid.
The troops
None of them can shoot. No stormtrooper can hit the broad side of a goddamn spaceship. Still,
that's fair.
To Tom's point about Vader, seriously, what you're saying is true from a certain point of view, but Anakin on Mustafar was just a different version of Vader. Yes, I understand you don't like Hayden. I get it.
Do you like him?
I don't want.
If you tell me that you think Hayden is a credible Darth goddamn Vader, I will throat punch you through this screen. So stop defending it just because George Lucas did it. George Lucas is the fucktard.
It doesn't matter. He was still Darth Vader. The Emperor even said, Sidious even said, you are now Darth Vader. Now, he's not the version of Vader. He's not the version of Vader that we all love, but the joke I said in the chat, what you're saying is basically like skinny Luther Vandross isn't the real Luther because Fat Luther had all the hits. I mean, he's still Luther.
Tom,
go ahead, Mom.
We run into Darth Vader in A New Hope when he's middle-aged Darth Vader. He is on the other side of his prime, actually. He's been ruling for a while. And it's unfair to compare that guy, because that's our initial imprimatur of what Darth Vader is, to Hayden Christensen, who is barely past puberty, past his teen years, when he's crowned Darth Vader.
Okay, so how much time has passed between Revenge of the Sith and Obi-Wan?
Is it 20?
10.
10.
So it's only 10 years, and then it's another 10 years to New Hope, right?
That makes
ish.
Like late 30s, 40s.
So he's 20-something-ish by the time
he's been in that suit, and that suit is
no. I'm talking about at Sith, at Revenge of the Sith. He's 20-something-ish, right?
Maybe 22 or something. Yeah.
Then he gets completely burnt the fuck up and has all the cyborg implants and shit. And 10 years later, he's Darth Vader with still more power that he is able to demonstrate than he was ever able to demonstrate in the OT. Grabbing starships, throwing huge ass a barrage of boulders and rocks and shit. He was stronger here.
Let's be real as to why that is.
There's only so much.
Because there's much better CGI and everything else.
Exactly.
I get it. I'm just saying every improvement that was made technologically that helped to tighten up the expectations that were established, I think, by the animated series. Because I will still the peak Star Wars to me is Mace Windu in that episode of the Clone Wars where the big earthquake machine was hitting shit and Mace dropped in the middle of like 100 of those goddamn death bots and he just basically flicked their own bolts back at them and fucked them up and was jumping on top of shit and breaking shit and cutting the damn earthquake machine with his lightsaber. That to me was the purest demonstration of what a real Jedi at the peak of his powers could do, and I was blown away. And so then when the OT came and they could do things like make Ewan McGregor and Hayden Skywalker jump and kind of go fast and do some of that stuff, they incorporated some of that stuff. And so fine, I get it. You couldn't do that in 76. Fine, great, 77. Whatever. Yeah. You couldn't do that back then. But still, nonetheless, as a kid, watching those movies and hearing that voice and seeing that fucking black leather guy with the plastic helmet walk onto screen, that was everything. Yeah. And Hayden Christensen outside of the mask, Hayden Christensen in the mask, once they chopped the vocoder off his face and he just sounded like Hayden instead of sounding like James, it took me all the way out of it. Because I don't give a fuck what you call him. My heart says that if you're not in the suit, you're not Darth Vader, and if you're not James Earl Jones, you're not Darth Vader.
And so the whole face splashed up because it was called.
They did, and that was cool. Yeah. I thought that was I was 100% with that. I guess my expectation of the series because I don't look at it as a purist because it's not pure. They should have gone in a radically different direction. They shouldn't have made the prequels. They should have made the postquels, and the postquels should have been Thrawn. Yeah. That's where I am on that.
Yeah.
And they're still trying to do that. They're trying to make up for that catastrophic failure by putting Thrawn into. He's in
Ahsoka.
Yeah, okay. But no, I'm saying even in the animated Thrawn. Animated Thrawn is fucking good Thrawn. But the point is, I don't look at it like some inviolate piece of whatever. I look at it more, I guess, like James Bond. Like there's some core James Bond things. Different directors, different writers, different people do different sorts of things, but I can appreciate what I like out of James Bond, and sometimes I'm not going to like the actor in James Bond, or sometimes I think the plot is going to be too ridiculous, but I can still appreciate it as a part of the James Bond lore. That's my perspective. And from that perspective, I thought Kenobi at the end delivered. There was this interesting new character who I still am not 100% convinced on, Reva. I get that she's going to be maybe Acolyte or whatever. And I thought that was fine. I thought that it was cool that she actually had an arc. I thought it was fine that she had a redemption arc and she carries Luke out of the brunette Luke out of the fucking desert. I was fine with all of that. And so at the end of the day, like you, Ryan, my biggest takeaway is that I wasn't grossly disappointed that they bastardized Obi-Wan. I got some good lightsaber fights. The Grand Inquisitor, for the time he was on screen, was an appropriate dickhead, just like all the other Grand Moff dickheads that have ever been in a Star Wars thing with a British accent, whatever. I thought it was fine. And I grew to like Leia. Because it's actually, when you think about it, it's kind of like her arc from A New Hope, where she's insufferable at the beginning.
Yes.
And then you kind of see her grow into a hero. And it was kind of the same thing with this little freakishly small girl. She was insufferable at the beginning. And by the end, she had a heart, she had worth, she demonstrated everything that she would grow into as the Carrie Fisher Leia.
She's short in A New Hope, by the way.
Huh?
She's short in A New Hope. I hope you know that.
Yeah, because she's the same height as Luke, Mark Hamill.
Yeah. Oh, maybe, but no. Also,
yeah, because Mark is tiny.
She was so little in this because they were trying to make sure that she stayed little.
But they were never together. You couldn't tell how tall Luke was. He was just brunette. She looked 6.
Okay.
I don't know any 10-year-old children look like that. Is that how they grow them on Alderaan?
Maybe so.
Low gravity or some shit?
Might be. It just might
not
be.
enough fun.
To your point,
not enough blue milk. Not enough blue milk for bones.
I was raised
blue calcium.
I was raised on the original trilogy, so I can't get the purist out of it.
You gotta let it go.
I can't. But Liz, you're right.
Because even the original trilogy is problematic.
Well, I mean, there's no perfect trilogy or no perfect movie, but it was what I was raised on. I'm just.
Which is why your devotion to the prequels is mind-numbingly stunning to me.
Here's the thing: you think The Last Jedi is a good movie, so you can go fuck yourself.
I didn't say it was a good movie.
You defended the movies. Kiss my ass.
I defended the things that you were wrong about when you were talking about the flashbacks in the hut on that goddamn planet. I didn't say that it was a perfect Star Wars movie.
The sequel trilogy, just you already lost.
By the way,
you are lost.
By the way.
Whatever.
Did we answer Deborah Hutt's question?
No, I'm joking.
No, we did. Let's do that.
Okay. So
no, she wasn't. She wasn't after them. Here, let me put the question up. Hold on. So Deborah Hunt asked the question. So, third sister is after Luke and Leia because does she know they're Vader's kids?
No.
In the penultimate episode, she does discover because I don't even know why Nanjani was even in this series, but because he drops the little message, she does realize that Luke is Vader's son. And when she goes to Tatooine, to kill him because Anakin killed all of her friends. But when she was faced with the choice, she couldn't do it. So she may not know that Leia is Vader's daughter, but she knows that Luke is Vader's son.
Wait a minute.
And she may put it together.
I thought it was something different. I thought that she went after Luke to, I guess, harm Obi-Wan originally.
That's what I got.
Yeah, I don't think she.
No, she was on the. No, at the beginning she didn't. When they were first on Tatooine and they were looking for Obi-Wan, she didn't. She didn't even know who Owen was, and she had a confrontation with Owen. I'm saying by the time the last episode came around.
I thought Obi-Wan's force powers betrayed him and exposed that, like, oh, sister, just like in Return of the Jedi, where he started searching his feelings, Obi-Wan's feelings, and realized that he was there on Tatooine to protect someone, not necessarily knowing it was the spawn of Vader. And
that's what I got from it.
She was going after Luke because she knew it would get to Obi-Wan. I don't think she necessarily knew who Luke was, but she knew from the
message,
the
little message,
the message that Luke was important. That's all she knew.
Because that was her reason. Her reasoning behind kidnapping Leia wasn't because it was Vader's daughter. It was to flush out Obi-Wan.
Yeah, Obi-Wan. True.
Because she found out from the old archives that Bail and Obi-Wan were homies during the Clone Wars. So that's why she took kidnapped Leia to flush out Obi-Wan.
But let's remember though, at that point in the show, her masquerade was that she was actually working and aligned with Vader. All of that was subterfuge. By the time she's at the end, Vader has already stabbed her in the goddamn appendix. She's acting on her own. And so I thought her motivation was that once she found that message, she put 2 and 2 together and realized that Obi-Wan was protecting Anakin's kids. Anakin is Vader. If I kill this kid, I'm killing Vader's kid, and that redeems all of the kids that Vader killed.
Okay, so what happened was, Tom, was this. In the Ultimate episode, she exposes herself as not only hating Vader, but also hating Obi-Wan, because she even says, "Where were you?" So she's going after Luke because she knows it's going to hurt Obi-Wan. She didn't know.
Okay, that Chaka agrees with me. That's why I'm putting the message on the thing.
Fine. I agree.
Either way, I think I don't see her killing an innocent kid just because Obi-Wan wasn't there. Obi-Wan was on the run. Now, maybe she was pissed and she ultimately didn't kill the kid. So maybe that is part of the reconciliation. I'm just saying, to me, as I was watching it, it seemed to me that she made the connection. Either, I don't know if it was her testing his feelings previously, whatever. To me, I thought she was pursuing Luke because she realized or had some understanding that Luke actually was related to Vader.
You can make that assumption, but
at least important.
They never come out and say that. The way
I didn't say that they did.
No.
Yeah, but the way I understood it was just like she wanted to kill somebody. She was mad at Obi-Wan and Vader. She realized she had killed a bunch of motherfuckers already, to be fair. Yeah, but she blames two people. She blames Vader and she blames Obi-Wan. She couldn't get Vader. We all saw that shit. That didn't work out. She was like, well, fuck it. Well, she was like, fuck it. Well, I'm just gonna get this kid then. Let me get this kid in this fucking bounce.
Could be. Yeah, could be.
I think her desire, I just look at it, she was crawling. Now, granted, it was a cauterized wound because it was a lightsaber, but she was crawling across that dirt, risking infection for the and she picks up the message, and that gives her the will to live. At that point, hate has made you strong. But at the same time, she had agreed, and this is why the Obi-Wan thing doesn't quite wash with me. Obi-Wan had basically made a pact with her. And she had agreed to work with Obi-Wan to take down Vader. Now, Vader knew what was up, and Vader says Obi-Wan was wise to use you against me. And so maybe she flipped back onto the fuck Obi-Wan side. But to me, I kind of felt that she had somewhat reconciled her previous hatred because they had their chance to talk. And even though it wasn't all good between them, it seemed to me that she was more willing to go against Vader than to go against Obi-Wan.
I never got that sense that they made a pact.
I didn't.
No, they just agreed to work together on the Vader shit.
That either. I never got that. I mean,
because look, that
but that's exactly what happened, though.
No, because she didn't do as instructed. She said Obi-Wan said something to the effect of, "You can't do it alone." And even in that point, when she approached him, after they brought him out,
she approached him and she said, "Now you will suffer whatever at the hands of Vader." And Obi-Wan said to her, "No, I brought him here to you. You think he came here for me. I brought him here for you." And so I see how you would think that they had some type of deal, but she never once said, "Okay, Obi-Wan," and gave him like a little Jedi wink, like,
Right.
"Let's do this." It was more like, oh, that Obi-Wan was using his wisdom and the fact that he's dealt with petulant, know nothing ass, wannabe, Sith masters before, and he was like, "Look, I'm trying to help you, girl. You're not listening to me." And that's why even in that point when Vader was coming, he's like, "Yo, sis, you don't even realize what I'm doing here. Like, I brought dude here so you could do your thing. I already know I'm getting away on the hidden ship inside the ship. I'm good. I got a plan. All right. But when this goes down, just know that I helped set this up for you." Now Vader played her like, "Man, look, Obi-Wan played you, man. I know you did not believe that was going to work out for you. He left you here to die. And, if she would have worked with him, cool." Real quick though, before we spend all our money on these two things, I want to hear from you, Dr. Liz, on the latest episode of Miss Marvel, which for me, every single episode of Miss Marvel gets better and better and better. They are truly world building with this series. The Easter eggs and the connectivity to the larger Marvel Cinematic Universe, as well as you start off with her being this kid and it looks like it's a kiddie show, but as the show develops, you see the show growing along with her and her coming into her powers. But how did you come out in this episode?
I really loved it. But I'm beginning to, I don't know about you all, but at the end I was thinking, who's going to show up? Because clearly she can't fight her way out of this. So remember at the end where she's surrounded by everyone. So did any of you feel like somebody was going to show up?
Photon
in this episode?
Yeah.
Not in that episode. I thought later.
Not in this episode. No.
Yeah, not.
You mean by her being surrounded? You guys were like there was no way she was going to be able to fight her way out of this.
No, but she had to learn. She had to know realization that she wasn't there yet. And I think that was more for the audience, where she's not badass yet. She has the bangle, but she can barely handle it and she can barely stay alive, which says to me in a later episode, there will be someone to help her.
But she did get the help at the end of this episode.
Yeah, she did.
Damage control caved in and saved the day.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like someone from
but
an MCU mainstay.
An MCU
And see, this is where I get kind of. I mean, I know that they're trying to build this independently so that she becomes of her own. But in the comics, she always has had a mentor. So the first was Wolverine, which I was like, okay, I know they're not going to bring Wolverine into this. And then you move into Lockjaw, and I was like, oh, please don't bring Lockjaw into this.
No, I don't think they're going to touch on Inhumans.
Right. But I was I mean, so who?
They don't have to with them bringing in the clandestine, which is
okay. So wait, hold on.
Super deep cut, dude.
This is okay. As a fan of the Alan Davis comic, that annoyed me because it was clandestine. It's clan with a capital D. Because it was Destine. When he was approached by the Jinn, it was the fan. Right. It was the name. And so when she just called them clandestines, I was like, no.
Yeah.
Don't do that to me. And then, granted, they were villains, but the two kids, and I guess maybe she's trying to position her son, or they're trying to position her son as one of the good Destines because he's not bloodthirsty or whatever. And so that's fine. It is, as you say, it's a deep cut. A cut deep. I don't even deep cut. I don't even know how that completely works in the overall scheme of things.
I think it's just with them wanting to bring in a different element, a different interdimensional element, because this is where they're going, but they don't necessarily want to tie directly to what we've seen, just showing that the different dimensions and the multiverse is really vast. You have, these individuals here, and it's not so connected to what they've already done that you end up saying, well, how are you doing this if America Chavez isn't there? So they give you yet another character that you can add that does exist in Marvel Comics, but is so effing obscure that like, yo, this is hardcore comic fan knowledge. This is like,
because they could have went with the Kree,
and damn,
right? So
no, but the Kree are already there.
Yeah, I understand, but that's what the comics has them as being a part of the Kree. So that was like they could have easily went with Kree because that's what they were in the comics.
Wasn't that the blue hand when they found the bangle original?
Wait. When you say that's who they were in the comics, what are you talking about? Which group?
The people, the people who are the clandestines were Kree.
No, they weren't Kree.
No.
In this Marvel, no. I'm telling you.
No, they aren't.
No. I'm telling you that I'm not confusing the two entities. I'm saying that the people who come after her are Kree in the comic of Miss Marvel. So the fact that they made the choice to choose them to be another
different characters.
I think they probably, but see, it's different because in the comics where she's an Inhuman, it makes sense that the Kree were a part of the mix. And I think they were trying to avoid the Inhumans by giving us access to another group of powered people that weren't mutants and weren't Inhumans. And so you get the clandestine because they're, magic from Jinn and all of that. And so it gives you another way to have access to superpowered characters that aren't beholden. You're not spilling the beans on the X-Men, and you're not trying to dip your toe back into the fuckery that was the Inhumans and Terrigen Mist and everything else. Even though some purists, not Ryan, but some people on the boards are talking about, I have a problem with her not being activated by Terrigen Mist. Okay, fuck you. Don't nobody care about the goddamn Terrigen Mist. The whole Inhuman shit was a nightmare on ABC. Nobody cares. And so it's interesting at first when they said that the power was from within her. I was like, okay, so the bangle may have triggered something, but the power was within her. And so now the question is she actually related, like with somebody else in the family that's not the evil mama, also in the clandestine? Is like the Mama G chick who has who called her at the end?
Yes, her.
So the grandmother
call in the end. That's
okay. So she's also clandestine, and so her powers basically are Jinn powers.
And I think that instead we clearly now know that because they show the relationship between Shang-Chi, which is what Mo and Tawala pointed out, you now understand why he was able to be activated when he came to the 10 rings.
Right.
Oh, Shang-Chi, yeah. Mm-hmm. That little glittery lighting up the bangle effect was very reminiscent of the rings and the color change. And
well, but did you catch the overt tie-in, Tom?
Yeah, where they find the bangle. That room has the 10 rings on the floor.
10 rings on the floor.
Oh, on the floor.
Yeah.
In the opening scene where they're digging through shit and the burnt up arm and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you go back and look at that episode, you'll see
it was all burnt up. I don't know if you could tell what it was, Mo. It was just
burnt up. Blue on my TV. It was bluish.
It was blue.
On my TV, it was bluish.
I mean, it was bluish charcoal.
What they're speculating is it's probably a deity who's blue, so something like
Mephisto.
Well, the genie in Aladdin was blue.
Blue, yes.
And the manifestation of the Jinn power that she exhibits is blue. So if that was if that was the original Jinn that helped to create clandestine or the clandestines,
you're not gonna like that.
I'm not going to.
My gripe.
I'm a purist.
My gripe was that in the beginning of the episode they have her and they're playing all lovey-dovey, and then the very next day they're after her to kill her.
That was a lot. But at least the son was consistent, which I liked.
You literally are playing a game where you're playing nice to get her to do what you want, and you give her less than 24 hours.
24 hours, yeah. Mama is a heifer for that.
She didn't just go heavy at the beginning and just get it over with. Like, you had her in your living room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when people do evil shit, you never know why they're doing it. That's why I tell my kids, no, you're not going over to no kid's house that I don't know. I don't know their parents. But their parents are some evil ass warlocks. I have no idea.
Warlocks.
No. Yes, I ain't going.
It's gonna make for a good story, though.
My gripe is, and this is like not really a gripe, because I say this because I want Miss Marvel to be very popular. I want it to work because then we'll get more stuff like this. I really hope there's like huge like cameo at the end, something like Captain Marvel. And the reason why I say this, I'm gonna go back to the 80s when I used to watch wrestling. Whenever you wanted a new like wrestler to be very, very popular, all you had to do was have like Hulk Hogan in the ring with him and shake his hand, give him a hug, and point to him. All of a sudden, he was huge. Everybody loved him. I want something like Captain Marvel to show up, something to like make people like Miss Marvel more.
I don't think Captain Marvel. Because I want that to work. To make
I don't know that Captain Marvel's the one.
Will like Miss Marvel.
Somebody.
But even if it doesn't happen, and the reason I almost hope it doesn't, and Mo and Tom, y'all may know where I'm going with this, but anytime a new artist will put out a record and it has a much bigger feature on it, a DJ 9 times out of 10 in the club goes to the part with the bigger artist and plays that. And then your artist is not really heard. I heard it time and time again. And I would say, why would you fucking put this damn big ass feature on your record and you're not going to get your artist really heard? If you keep throwing in bigger artists onto other projects, then none of these projects stand on their own. Jay-Z fucked up the whole rock or whatever crew because he was on every single. But every time those albums dropped, none of those albums did shit without him. All the singles were big, no albums good. These projects have to stand on their own. And they're just going to be what they are. If they don't win, they don't win. But even Feige has said recently that if you look at what I'm doing in this phase 4, which is almost coming to an end, phase 4 is almost coming to an end. And when we get to this certain point, you're going to look back and you're going to see all the things that we were doing to set up the next phase. All of this right now, what we're doing, we're storytelling. We're introducing new characters and introducing different ways where we can expand the universe. Everyone says, where are you going to go after the Avengers? Well, we're going to go here with this style of show. We're going to go here with this style of show. But you will eventually see what's going to go into the next big saga for phase 5, which is just around the corner. I promise y'all, we're about to do something where you're going to see it. Maybe it'll be at D23. Maybe it'll be a Disney Plus day. Maybe they'll do something at Comic-Con. But they said we're about to see a thing that starts to show us how all of these little series, these ancillary series, start to connect. If we don't get a big star, hey, I hope that we
need a big star
finale. Finale.
I don't think it needs a big star, but I think it could be just someone that would tie in. I think Photon would be good. I mean, I just think it could be someone who is going to be in the Marvels.
The only reason why I mentioned Captain Marvel because she's a huge fan of hers. They've already built that story in the show.
Fair.
That's the only reason why I would say Captain Marvel. But like somebody from the movie universe, whatever.
Her artwork, universe. Captain Marvel's artwork has been in every single episode. So the obvious logical thing to connect Kamala to the Marvels would be for Captain Marvel to make an appearance. But who knows what's going on with Brie Larson? I guess my thing is that this series has about half the viewership of the previously lowest rated or lowest watched Disney Plus Marvel series. And so I wish more people would watch it. I don't think Brie Larson is the magnet that's going to get them in. I don't know if there's some way to have a clever nod that is not integral to the story, but it's like, oh, look at what they're willing to throw onto the wall to see what sticks. Clandestine was a nice effort in that direction, but again, as much as I love Alan Davis's pencils, outside of Excalibur, I don't know that anybody's tracking him.
I think what's going to end up happening is that when people become more aware of the connectivity later, is when people are going to have to go back and watch. And I say that because a lot of people were turned off by WandaVision. but they walked into Doctor Strange too and have absolutely no idea what and and I don't get this, and it forced them to kind of go back to see WandaVision.
Yeah, Doctor Strange was supposed to be in WandaVision too.
Yeah, but I'm my point is that we're going to have, and I also don't think that I'm curious, and I didn't look it up, is how I envision that people didn't believe that Miss Marvel was going to be a big draw anyway, because it's a teen lead, and not many people want to watch a teen show. Legitimately, I get annoyed
not only
by
that,
them.
this is also America, and when you got entire states talking about banning Disney and taking away their legacy characters because they're too woke, and you got a show that is openly praising Allah in every episode, it's not going to have a lot of viewership.
Giving Pakistani history.
Yes,
like writ large.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if how many people is it a tick higher or lower than the Runaways, or I mean, because that was a hard watch.
Every show has the highest viewership for households of people of color, Black and brown, and other audiences are watching this series more than any other. But overall, households at large are not.
Okay,
so that's pretty stark.
So call it what it is. In other words, this is going to be less appealing to the white majority.
Right.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But it is doing better than Runaways and Cloak and Dagger, because the platforms
it's just a better show.
Were horrible.
This is doing better.
Well, it is a better show.
It's doing better than the greatest show of all time, Iron Fist.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely. Is you sure?
No, I'm sure it's not, because
I don't know.
Iron Fist was on Netflix, and
now it's on Disney Plus. Though.
All right, if we're going down an Iron Fist route, then it's time to end this. It is time to bring this to a close. Ryan, all you had to say was, "Hey guys, I got to go." All right, you didn't have to go Iron Fist on.
Yeah, let Ryan and Iron Fist have their own Herogasm.
Bring that fist.
He can light up that fist.
But honestly,
he can set some Jurassic super locusts on fire with that fist.
Yeah,
that never ends.
My prostate.
That never ends. I'm literally sitting at the edge of my seat trying to figure out what's going to happen next, though. At the end of Miss Marvel, I'm like, what will happen next week? When is Tuesday? We shall see.
Next week we will be at episode 395. Episode 1000 is just around the corner. Trying to work on some big things. Trying to work on maybe bringing a big guest on. Oh Lord, if we can all do it in person. Look, big things are popping. Anthony, good sir, take us out, brother.
Good news, everybody.
McBain.
Fuck Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yes, I concur. Mo Kelly.
Umbrella Academy season 3.
Oh, nice.
Orgasm, Tom, you all right?
I'm liking season 3.
So good.
I'm liking season 3.
In the absence of X-Men, yes.
Yeah.
Super nice, Dr. Liz.
It's been bad news, everybody.
Cunningham.
Where is my Sparrow suit?
I'm gonna watch that right now. Excelsior.